Okay.
Morning, Stuart.
Morning.
Just going to ask you a few general questions regarding Armed Forces Day. Okay, to start off with, what does Armed Forces Day mean to you personally?
Me personally, it gives us a chance to all get together, and the comradeship spread right across, instead of just your own service, but spread right across the combined services, and it just gives you a chance to have a good day, tell some old stories, and also we bring awareness for several of the fundraisers that are down there as well, as in JJSVA Joint Veterans Association, amongst the others. So yeah, but generally, yeah, just to bring the awareness and have a good day.
Brilliant. And how do you usually observe or reflect on the day?
Well, obviously me personally, a lot of the lads wear their uniforms and their either their blazers and that, but we run a bar down there, so we have our Armed Forces T-shirt, which we wear each year, sorry. And generally, yeah, just getting the bar together to begin with, running the bar for the veterans, and just enjoying the day.
Great. Okay, one last question. If you could tell the public one thing about Armed Forces Day, what would it be?
Just attend it, give your support. Everybody likes to support the veterans, and it's fantastic in Jersey how they do so. So it's nice for them, because they do it all year, supporting the veterans. It's nice for them to actually meet with all the lads and sort of get an air of what it means to them, and they get to thank the public for the help that they do for fundraising throughout the year, and just the general support, not just the armed forces, but the blues and twos as well, fire ambulance, and the police. So yeah, it's just a good day for everybody to get together and have a little bit more understanding of what it means to us. It's passed on, and the thanks that we have to the public for the fundraising they do every year.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As long as they're not too complicated.
Good morning, Dave. What does Armed Forces Day mean to you personally?
Well, up until a few years ago, I never really noticed it that much. But over the recent years, since JJSVA Joint Veterans Association started getting involved, it means a lot, because it's good for social, catching up with veterans. And yeah, it means a lot, because you can actually chat to people that know what you've been through.
Okay. How would you feel the best way to support veterans is?
Well, there's a lot of different things. Like I say, I've just mentioned the JJSVA Joint Veterans Association. Myself, I'm involved in the Royal Navy Association as well, and there's so many associations like the British Legion as well, and JJSVA Joint Veterans Association, where we all meet, and it's camaraderie. It's important that we talk to people that understand what you've been through and things that you've seen over the course of your service, you know.
Yeah. If you could tell the younger generation something about Armed Forces Day and how to understand it, what would you tell them?
Well, going back when I was a kid, I know things have changed a hell of a lot with telephones and TVs, but I was in the cadets as a young kid, and my father was in the services as well, in the Navy. But I never joined the Navy because he joined it. I joined it because I wanted to join it, you know. But I think cadets for cadets, it's a good environment for them, and it's discipline. And there's a lot of lack of that nowadays with youngsters, unfortunately. And I think it'd do them a world of good.
Yeah. How do you usually observe and reflect on the day?
On the day, when we all meet up, we sort of chat quietly together. We don't shout it out. but you can talk to each other and you know you've got an ear to listen to you, which is important because most of the year you haven't got anybody to listen to you, and you keep it in, and it boils up. And if you're suffering from PTSD, which I do, I'm quite open about that, it can have an effect on you. But it's good to chat.
Have you got one of your proudest moments in the forces?
Yeah, coming back from the Falklands, seeing my mum and dad on a side, and seeing the flag, British flag, welcome home, David, and that's my proudest moment, because my mum was the first up the gangway. She pushed everybody out the way, and she's like, "That's my son, that's my son." But yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's my proudest day. Coming back alive.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Dave.
Thanks. Yeah.
Good morning, Trudy.
Good morning, Laura.
I'm just going to ask you a few questions about Armed Forces Day.
Yes.
Okay, the first one. What does Armed Forces Day mean to you personally?
Well, personally, it means a great deal. It helps me to reflect on my service in the Women's Royal Air Force many years ago and how proud I was to have served. It also, can I go on?
Yeah, of course you can.
It also reminds me of how important it is to remember all the servicemen and women that are still serving today, and also the veterans that, you know, from all the different forces, and also the cadets and the reservists as well. But we must remember the families, because they do play an important part, a vital part, in supporting service personnel.
I agree. If you could tell the public one thing about Armed Forces Day, what would you tell them?
I would say to come along and meet us, because we will be able to hopefully form stronger bonds by meeting you, and also to explain exactly what we do in the forces, what our roles are, our different military roles are. They're also obviously in not just defence, but they're also, we have a role in peacekeeping, we also have a role in humanitarian aid and also disaster relief, as well as defence.
Great. How would you feel the best way to support a veteran is?
I think really is to actually support all the different military charities there are. And also when a veteran leaves the service, it's also important to help them actually to integrate into civilian life, help them with jobs and anything else that they will need.
Okay. Why do you think it's important for the public to recognise Armed Forces Day as a big event?
I think it's so important to recognise it, because the world is changing. We are living in uncertain times at the moment, so we do need a defence force, and we need to be looking at, are we strong enough? Are we there? Are we strong enough to protect people and to protect our freedoms?
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say regarding Armed Forces Day?
Yeah, I think it's important that we inform the younger generation too on their responsibilities and the sacrifices that have been made so that we are free today.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Trudy. Good morning, Helen.
Morning.
Just going to ask you a few questions regarding Armed Forces Day.
Yep.
What does Armed Forces Day mean to you personally?
Never really reflected on it, because when I served I was a different person, and I felt like, because I went in for the wrong reasons, as in running away from who I really was, I never felt like, even though I know I participated being in the military, I never really felt like I was part of the military until I met this group, the charity that I meet up once a month with, and seeing that I was accepted within, even though I've transitioned to who I am now. So now it's given me more reflect and pride on what I did back then before I transitioned. So now I think I'm proud of the fact that I served my Queen and country. So yeah.
Has the meaning of Armed Forces Day changed for you over the years?
It has now. I think now, with me realising that actually it doesn't matter what skin you're in. If you've served, you've served, and you're accepted by every other member of your, whatever they served in, the RAF, Army, Navy, you served, and that's all that matters to them. So I think, yeah, it doesn't matter what sex or gender or whatever you are, you're still one of them, you're a comrade.
Absolutely. How will you be reflecting on the day this year?
I'll be actually going on parade for the first time since leaving the army. So yeah, it's been busy trying to get all the stuff together. I don't know if it's all going to fit yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. First time to actually get a cloth out and start bobbing up the boots or shoes. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of going back to what I did when I was in the army. So yeah, and getting ready for parade. So yeah, looking forward to it.
It'll be great to see you there.
Thank you.
What would you like the younger generation to understand about this day?
I think they got to understand is every person that joins the army or any service, there's not always like a positive reason. They're either running away or they're looking for travelling around the world, which you don't always do. Sometimes you're stuck in a grotty camp in somewhere abroad, and you don't really see anything apart from the camp or where you're going. So I think they got to understand that the youth today is there's always going to be a need for people like us that are willing to put their lives up to protect the rest of the nation. And there's nothing more than being proud of the fact that I and others have actually done that. So yeah.
One last question. If you could tell the public one thing about Armed Forces Day, what would you tell them?
Come along, talk to some veterans, listen to their stories, and really take in why they joined and why they did it. Even if there's a bad story behind why they went in, running away from something, the training that they go through to become a soldier or a sailor or in the RAF is difficult. It's 6 months worth of training, and yeah, it can break people. Some people don't manage to get through training. The ones that do, they're the ones that the nation is relying on to protect. And I think, you know, there's always going to be a need for us, because everybody's needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
I'm going to ask you a few questions about Armed Forces Day.
Okay.
What does Armed Forces Day mean to you personally?
Personally, it actually means quite a lot. It's one of those days that I can reflect back on what I've done with my military career, and also to hear what other people have done during their military career. It's just a day for me to reflect and remember.
If you could tell the public one thing about Armed Forces Day, what would it be?
Well, that's a difficult one, in all honesty. Talking to the public about it, it's really for the public awareness, for them to know who we are. It's okay hearing things on the news, but unless you're actually involved with the military, it's very hard for people to even understand. All they see is what they see on the news, as I said, or films. They have no real concept of actually what happens within the military. And so Armed Forces Day is a way of actually helping to bring it out and put it out to the public.
Okay. How do you usually observe or reflect on the day?
Again, I reflect on the day as, for myself, as a celebration. But it's also very poignant. I get to meet all the other veterans, and we do meet up quite regularly anyway. But it's the time that we can celebrate what the military is about, what we've done, what we've achieved, and to put it out to the public. And that's really what it's all about. It's to celebrate the armed forces.
Your proudest moment while serving in the forces?
I think my proudest moment was coming out of a conflict, if you like. It was an ambush that we drove into, and as I was the lead sergeant there, and the lads all came out okay at the end of it with no severe injuries. I think that was my proudest moment, was that to lead them through that and out the other side. And absolutely, that has to be something that obviously always sticks in my mind, which I suffer a bit of PTSD, like a lot of veterans do, from that. But hey, it's part of life, and it's part of me and my military career.
How would you feel the best way to support veterans would be?
I feel the best way to support veterans really is to listen to them, meet them, talk with them, and actually listen to their stories. Some of them might seem a bit far-fetched, but believe you me, when you've been in some situations, it's far from the truth. You need to understand what veterans have been through, and the only way you can do that is by listening to them. And so, just support veterans.
Has the meaning of Armed Forces Day changed for you over the years?
No, it hasn't changed for me at all. I still feel the same. Respect for all the other services, all the other veterans, those that are still in, of course. And I'm looking forward to the younger generation joining the services and then going through what we came through and coming out as veterans out the other side.
Okay, one last question. One thing being in the military has taught you?
Probably my whole life, to be honest. But really respect for people. It's taught me timings, always 5 minutes before. It's just a way of life that has carried on into my civilian life as well. You know, it's a lot of what I do reflects my military career, and from what I've learned, it's just a completely different way of life, and it's superb.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Barry Grelier Gale. Grelier being my Jersey name and well known about 100 years ago.
Brilliant. Hi Barry. What does Armed Forces Day mean to you personally?
It means that people can see more of just what it means to serve, because the other things that we remember, Remembrance Day, D-Day, all that sort of thing, they can't talk to us and find out exactly, what it's like to serve.
Yeah. If you could tell the public one thing about Armed Forces Day, what would you tell them?
I tell them that it's something that should always be remembered, and they should take a little bit of time off to go and see what there is there and ask any questions they may like to ask, because there's no national service or any conscription, so that people don't get to know what it's like to serve.
So during your time in service, what memory would you take that would mean the most to you?
Joining as a joining as a wimp and coming out as a man. Yeah, when you're a wimp and you're confronted with a drunken Irishman who wants to beat everybody else up, you soon grow up.
When it comes to Armed Forces Day, how do you usually observe or reflect on the day?
I'm very proud to say I saved up a few years ago and bought myself a Willys Jeep, which was exactly like the one I drove when I served. So I rigged it up with all the detail, the Provo Company and the infantry group, etc. And I enjoy driving that round because that reminds me of my service, and it shows people what Jeeps looked like when they were used in service.
Okay. Reflecting back on your service, would you mind telling us a bit more about what you did?
Yes, I can do that. It's quite interesting actually how I joined, because I was in the middle of electrical engineering apprenticeship. Now that wasn't an electrician, that was making transformers, switchgear and that sort of thing like they use in power stations. It was the heavy stuff. So when I joined up, they put me in the medical corps. And I really didn't feel much like the medical corps, because the corporal who was assigning us to our position said, "Okay, Gail, right, you're going to be a clerk up in the northeast." And I just was aghast. I said, "No, I didn't come in to do national service to have less fun than I have on the shop floor. So I would like to go abroad, and I would like to learn to drive." So he said, "Well, we've only got the medical corps." And I said, "Can I drive?" No, the service corps do all the driving for the medical corps. So I said, "Well, what else is there?" "Well, there's not a lot. There's the artillery." I said, "Yeah, but I don't want to finish my service deaf. I don't want the artillery." He said, "Well, there's military police." So the first thing that came into my mind was the right side of the law. Go for that one. So I did. Yes. And it was a long training, because we had to learn all the King's regulations. And of course I joined when the King was on the throne, before the Queen became, the monarch. So, lost track for a minute. What was I up to? Yeah, had I started going into service?
Yes, you just said you were joining the right side of the law.
Okay, yes, that's right. So I had to go in for 2 weeks when I wasn't allowed to write home. I wasn't allowed to go out. I was kept in the barracks for 2 weeks. And then after that time, I think I got a week's leave or something like that, a break anyway. And then I went to RMP to train. That was 16 weeks training. So that was a good part of the service actually, 2 years. And I thoroughly enjoyed my service. I did, yeah.
One last question for you. How do you feel the best way to support a veteran would be?
Keep your eye on them, because there's a saying, old soldiers fade away. Sorry. And I think there is a responsibility for the authorities or part of the military organisation to look after the veterans.
Absolutely.